Good morning, everyone. I appreciate today's going to be another quiet one and a bit of an oddly timed one compared to my usual streaming schedule, but it's forecast to be 32 Celsius here in England, which, whilst not outrageously hot, is plenty hot enough, especially in a little shed that is built to bring in the sunshine, which is not ideal when it adds another 5-10 degrees in here. So streaming now whilst the streaming is good, the temperatures are cool, and seeing what we can do. Still waiting on my 1.5mm tip to be replaced, which should arrive later today. So we won't finish anything on stream, but don't tend to do that anyway. But what we will do is have a play with this. This is an a DAC multi. I don't know how many good multis there are in it. There's a little section up here where you can see one. There's another partial here, possibly another little one there. The big main one is here, and then there's a bivalve there. So I don't know how many are in here. I don't know the quality of them either, but we'll have a look if we can at least rough this one out today on stream. I will apologize, there's a little bit of light here that keeps coming through, and that's just because of the light coming into the shed, and there's not a lot I can do about that one, unfortunately. So we'll just have to make do for the minute. But yeah, we'll get cracking and yeah, make the most of the cool temps. Hey Casey, I don't know if you'll have heard the intro, but just trying to take advantage of the fact it is presently cool in my shed rather than the 30 plus degrees it's going to be later. So getting in a morning stream, trying to do a little bit of prep whilst I can, with what I can. I don't have, I say, a fine tip, so I'm still running on my 2mm at the minute. So we'll see what we can do with it. Yeah, it's nice just to have some prep time after a bit of a chaotic week already. Hey Liam, yeah, there's, well, a partial here, and a possible small one as well. My suspicions is they are not fabulously preserved, but we'll see. That one will at least be half, I imagine. That one I don't know. But preservation on this one's pretty nice. Still waiting on my 1.5mm tip to come in, so I'm not going to get too far into the middle with the 2mm, because we can do a better job with the 1.5mm when it gets here. Hopefully later today, although it may have to wait for prep till tomorrow, because I'm not convinced I'm going to be wanting to prep beyond probably 11:30 when it's going to be close to 30 degrees. So. That's where a base would come in handy. Oh, for the actual, this specimen, shovel base. Make it display better. Yeah, probably. It's one of those things that I will have and explore, and if it's rubbish, we can always remove it later. But we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, just trying to have a little bit of a change of pace, because I've spent far too long in offices, and whether it be with the one at unis or in my own personal office, doing admin-y related things for the last couple of days, and cool, it's not fun. So it's nice to have a little bit of fossil prep time rather than just fossil organization or paying bills work. Yeah, that'll do for the minute. It will get better, but no point me pushing it with a 2mm tip when I've got a 1.5 arriving, as I've said, hopefully later today. So either today or tomorrow, hopefully can get that all down to the middle and squared away. But some pretty nice colours in the outer whorls, at least. I've got some really nice calcite preservation. They go a bit pyritic in the middle, but yeah, some of this here is lovely colour preservation. We'll have a look, see about these now, and just see what's what down there. Alrighty, so we've got two more, or at least two partials, although annoyingly this little one actually looks like it might have a middle. I've just exposed what would be from the outside one, two, and there's a third world there. So it may have a middle right in the very center of that. It is not going to make any difference. This is also another ammonite here by the looks of it as well. So it looks like there's a little seam of sadly not well preserved ones right on the edge of this. Pretty to look at. Probably not worth spending the time to prep them all, but it is good for me to keep practicing on them. But yeah, realistically, probably more interesting is this piece to take the bottom off. Whoop. Actually, I quite like this shell. If this was like if you were to design a base, stick this on a base and leave that shell just sitting there, even though it's a bit scruffy, and just polish around the matrix and possibly even around the shell. But yeah, that'll do for that one, at least for now. Alright, now I have to figure out what the heck I want to prep next, because I am out of things to hand. Or at least out of things that I had put nearby for prepping. Give me 1 second, let's go have a look see. Hey Cheryl, good to see you guys. Yeah, it's hot, as I'm sure you know. I don't know how hot it is down. I'd say down with you, but across with you. But it's going to be 30 degrees here later. In fact, 32 degrees here later today, and that is just too hot to try and prep in. So we are keeping out of the heat and prepping this morning. And Katie asked a great question: How's the pup? Hope she's doing okay. We have just done a DAC. This one I had labeled, or in the video I showed it as a Gramo, but I've looked at it and I'm wondering if it might be a Horgia, but I don't know if I'm making it up, just because the ribbing looks a bit funky. So it might be pathological ribbing, but there's like what look like bumps around there, and if you squint there may just be some bumpy bottoms of some ribs here, but it is tough to say. So the solution is just prep. So I'm hopeful, because of the nature of things, that this will just prep fairly quickly. There's also another something here which we can always have a look at too, that we might get to as we go. But yeah, I'll have a quick look at that one and a quick look there as well, and just see how we get on. I'm really annoyed by this this little bit of light right here. There's obviously a gap somewhere, or a reflection somewhere. I tried to block it when I'm prepping, just with my shoulder, but I can't figure out exactly where it's coming in from, which is very annoying. Yeah, kind of block it. You might see my fingers in the hand in the background. Katie, I wish I was that lucky. I find lots of bits of Horgias. The middles of Horgias haunt me, as several people know. But yeah, it's just a bit weird. Even if it's a Gramo, I think it might be a pathological one, just because its ribbing is a bit funky. But yeah, the decision, as I said, a little bit of prep. It'll be interesting to see this calcite vein. May or may not be a horrible problem. And as I say, we'll have a look over here as well, but I need to just remember that ammonite is there, because that is probably something I would just obliterate across as I try and just give myself the room to work. Yeah, we'll see. So all we can do, start prepping. I am clearly a master prepper, and I managed to get a little bit from there to pop, and it took the whole lot off, which that did surprise me. And I am still absolutely none the wiser with what it is. The ribs are just weird, and I think they're pathological, but I don't know. May have to go have a look, see if we can track any of these sutures up here, and have a look at Neil's book, because I am none the wiser. Yeah, so glad to hear Pop's doing all right. Yeah, bed rest. Bed rest is an endeavor for a dog, and especially when you've got a beach nearby, that is a tough ask. So I don't envy you trying to keep the dog contained. And also, I apologize for just calling her the dog. I am well aware of her name. I'm just not saying it loudly on stream, but I don't want to sound too rude. The fete went pretty well. I kind of didn't know what to expect. It's kind of the joy of one of these things. It's a little almost car boot sale like, in that people are of all walks of life just coming to have a look around. There's plenty of other activities and things, but yeah, we sold, it was about 60-70 quid's worth of fossils, and a few of the small Grammos, Hildies, decks sort of things, but mostly, in terms of numbers, I had a mystery box full of like random mystery fossils, and there's a bag, each bag worth £1, and in the bag was a fossil of some description: belemnite, bivalve, ammonite, that sort of thing. And so spend £1, pick a bag, you get what you get. Spend £5, and I would generally just go through and pick a few bags that had a bit of everything in, which I think is actually pretty good value. So I sold a fair few of those. And then yeah, I think it was more than anything a good chance to figure out what works and doesn't work, and how to adjust things, because very clearly we were never going to sell huge amounts of things. You might get lucky, you might sell one big thing, but there's clearly just also a gap in what we were doing, that we didn't draw more people over to come and talk to us. We've got plenty of people in general talking to us, but we were sat next to a kid's toy stall, and don't get me wrong, I fully get a kid's toy stall is going to get a lot of kids coming to buy a bunch of toys and all that sort of stuff, but a lot of toys are tat nowadays. That's when I start to feel really old. But they obviously were drawing in huge numbers of people, and that's kind of what we need. Even if they're not buying an enormous amount of stuff, we need to draw people in, and so I need to have just a rethink about how best to get people over just to engage with us and get more things. So next time I do it, it'll be better. And yeah, it's just a very different vibe to like a fossil festival, where you know everyone there is going to be fossil mad, or a village fete or car boot, whatever. Yeah, very different. So, but glad I did it. Paid the bills, at least paid off all the expenses for the trip, and gave out a few brochures, so I'm hoping there might be a few tours booked as well because of it, which would then make it really worthwhile. And at this stage, all publicity when it comes to the tours is good, obviously within reason, but yeah, it's ideal to just keep getting people to know us, and obviously as we're gearing up for school summer holidays in the next week or so, hopefully get a few more tours. I got one next week, so that's good at least. Yeah, let's have a look, see. I'm still not sure I'm going to figure out this one, just because I just don't know. I think it's just that sort of funkiness to it. It might be a bit of a challenge, but yeah, let's see if we can prep this and just figure out what this is, because that may help us as well. No green giant suit. Green dinosaur suit next time. No, no. But possibly some more sort of fun, gamey activities that people can dig up fossils or have a dig, and if they find something, it then gets them a chance to just draw like an ammonite from a bag, sort of thing. Just that sort of stuff that would get some kids enthused and active and doing, and over. And I'm not convinced me being a green version of Barney the dinosaur will achieve that sort of goal. I can tell you for free though that I need to work on my welly tossing. I came, I think, second out of the village welly tossing contest. And for those people who were watching, or at least watching on catch up, who don't know what wellies are, and welly, in fact, they call it welly wanging here, but you basically take one of those tall waterproof boots that tend to be rubbery, and you throw it as far as you can. And I used to be very good at throwing shot put. Now I have apparently got an alright knack for chucking a welly boot, but I didn't win. So improvement. That's the goal for next time. I don't blame you, Sean. I knew you were joking. Don't worry. It's a fun idea. But I have to say, the dressing as a rhino thing. My sister ran the London Marathon a couple of years ago, and there's some people dressed in like full heavy-duty rhino stuff that were running the London Marathon, and I have to say I do not know how they did it, because holy cow, it's hot enough anyway in normal running gear. Stood on the side, let alone running it in a full rhino costume. Phew, credit to them. But I have to say, dressing as a rhino just to walk around a zoo and race money does sound not outrageous. Again, assuming it's not 30 degrees outside, in which case, whew, not great fun. Midwinter though, much better. Yeah, glad to hear that your prep box is coming along. I have no idea what type of glass I've got in mine. Quick tough is what it says on the label, but no idea what that actually means. And likewise, no idea the different types of glasses, I have to say. So if it was recommended, it's probably not a terrible choice. I'm not sure it matters too much as long as it stays clear, it doesn't break easily at least, and yeah. I look forward to hearing that it's when it's at least built, and then you can start using it. I feel like you've got trips coming up, hopefully, to keep building up fossil stockpile collection and keep you busy with many hours of prep, as I demonstrate many hours of prep on my in fact increasing quantities. Since I've started doing this full time, I've ended up with more material than I have prepped. So yeah, that's pretty par for the course. So it sounds like a good deal there, Cyril. Yeah, I'd say as long as it works for you, then all is good. Katie hasn't responded to has. Oh, there we go. With regards to this, middle just about there, but needs a bit of a tidy. It's a bit of an unusual one. I think they're just both a bit wonky, but there's no sign of a proper keel, so I don't think they're hoys. I think just standard grammos, but I say standard. I think this one's pathological just with the way the ribs are. But we will dig it out a bit further. It is this one. This one I think can disappear eventually, but this one is interesting and quite nice. Just a shame it's a little worn on that edge. It's a Gramo, although it actually was a more tricky one to tell than I would have liked even. Anyway, so it's from the second bay. The thing that made it even trickier to decide what it was, so I don't know how well you can see, but there's some very odd ribs in the middle which almost look lumpy. And I wondered actually, rather than Gramo versus Hildy, if it was Gramo versus Holgia. But when you can see a bit more of the keel, or lack thereof of a true keel, it's kind of got just sort of a slightly raised venter rather than a proper keel. It's not a Holgia, although it is just unusual. And yeah, it is from the kayak trips. It's one of those many bits. It had a second one, which is what I also used to see if it was anything more distinct, but it looks very much like a Gramo as well. So I'm pretty sure this is a Gramo. It's from the second bay at Ravenscar. Doesn't reduce its ability to be anything else, but yeah, it's most likely Gramo. But yeah, it needs a little bit of a tidy just on the last bits here and smoothing off, but that I will do another day. See if we can get one more just to get something else started, and then yeah, by noon I am likely to be done for the day. Unfortunately, it's too hot already in here, really. But I will endeavour to do a little bit more. What else do we have? No, I don't blindly go hunting for ammonites in the rocks. So this one here, there's, I mean, not an unreasonable chance there might be more in here. Just to show you, it's kind of just a nondescript nodule. There could easily be more in it. But you could spend many hours and find absolutely nothing in it. So what's more likely to happen is me smooth this all around. If I find any hints of something whilst I'm just finishing this off, then it might get explored. But realistically, at some point it's likely that this actually just gets cut off, just because the rest of the rock doesn't add anything to that. And I mean, this in itself isn't a particularly expensive or interesting fossil for most people. It's interesting to me because it's a bit pathological, but it's still only like at most a £5 fossil at best. So how long do I want to spend exploring to see if it's anything else in there? So yeah, the other thing I'll just remind people is I'm still learning prepping, so I spend a lot longer on things, because it takes a while to prep for me as I still learn, but also I spend longer prepping things that aren't worth the money because I find it useful to just keep working on prep skills, and sometimes putting myself in deliberately challenging positions, like not removing enough matrix just to work on trying to get around corners in places that I can't normally do. So yes, I don't pretend that I am perfect. I don't pretend I'm doing this as optimally as possible, but sometimes that's just because for me it's interesting to do this as a not purely commercial endeavor. But yeah, when it comes to digging through a rock this size just in case there's something, unlikely. If I can get this one off, there's a reasonable chance I may just smack this with a hammer and just double check, because Gramos usually, assuming they're in the plane that you'd expect them to be in, not a given, I will accept, they do split reasonably well just because they're fairly smooth. If they do the standard Gramo thing, as you can see, of one being that way, the other being that way, then who knows, when you come to open them, some split badly just because they don't want to sit in a nice orientation. Likewise, I've still got to put, oh goodness, will it fit this one back together from that trip as well, which shouldn't be too difficult, but yeah. That's the big Gramo that needs to go back together. and probably a little bit of fill just to go down and fill this crack in. But yeah. But yeah, it's just a bit of casual prep. And hey Paul, welcome. Yeah, early today just because of the temperatures, or the forecast temperatures. I mean, it's already warm enough in here, and it's 11 o'clock. So I am getting the prep in whilst the prepping is a reasonable temperature. So yeah, there won't be an afternoon stream like I would normally do, just because I will have already melted probably by that point. Right, something else, another Dremel block, same trip. This is the one that actually I show on the video going, I don't know if this is 1 or 2, because I still don't know if it's 1 or 2. You've got keel running this way, this way, this way. The shape of it suggests 2, because it would suggest 1 here and another here. But also not out of the realms of possibility, it's 1 here that's then broken a chunk off. So we'll have a look, see. I mean, this here makes me think we've got 1, 2 on top of each other, but and possibly a third here. This matrix is also that real, like, here, that's my fingernail. That's leaving those scratches. So this stuff sometimes preps nicely, sometimes does not. It would prep a lot better with air abrasive, and before anyone says it, do not have it on that list of things to do. So yeah, we will see. Yeah, I'm just going to spend a bit of time on this one, see how we get on, see how many there are in here, if it's 1, if it's 2, if it's 1 horrifically broken one. Sometimes interesting for their own right, but yeah, we'll just have to have a look, see. Obviously, if you've got questions, chuck them in chat. I will do my best to answer. But yeah, it's that warning that we are probably less than an hour away from me just being too hot and sticky to continue, at least for today. But I'll be probably back tomorrow morning, similar sort of time, 9 o'clock British time, just again to get things done whilst the temperatures are not stupidly high. I'm not planning to stick around and sit in the shed whilst it's 30+ degrees in here. And I say plus because it's forecast to be 32, and I suspect it will get much higher than that in my little greenhouse of a shed. So we'll do what we can, and yeah, let me stop talking, let's prep. Yeah, an AC unit would be good if I had an enclosed prep shed, but I've got a shed. It's not an enclosed space with with insulation or anything like that. It's literally a shed, and so the cooling air, as fast as it would be produced, would go straight out the other side. And even though we've got solar panels, it's a bit of a waste of energy even by my standards. So, I've got a fan, I'm enjoying my fan, but that is as far as I'm going with it, at least in this current iteration of the prep shed. We'll see how serious and how much money we can make off of doing full-time fossil stuff, and if it becomes a big time thing. I say big time, if I can make a reasonable enough living, then yeah, there'll be heavy duty upgrades to all of that sort of stuff down the line. Looks like our answer is going to be one, but very broken. And a bit unusual, actually. It does look Dremel-esque, but the matrix, as I said, is very soft. I wonder if it's one of those high-up ones just before we get to the true blue white mess of species that not a clue for a lot of them. Some really beautiful suturing though, really beautiful. Yeah, it's we'll keep following it around and see what we end up with. In some respects, I think the middle's going to be much better on this side, but I think it'll look more interesting from this side, for better or worse. And we'll have to just see. You can always reverse prep it if required. It's a bit of an unusual one, and I am starting to wonder if it is one of the blue white things rather than just a Dremel. I might be wrong. I mean, the ribbing is Dremel, very Dremel-like, but then it, perhaps not surprising because the blue white stuff is basically the Dremel's next evolutionary form. But yeah, it starts to get really messy. This is all popped off really nicely and really easily. Middle has got a nice chunk of shell that's in the wrong place, and it's starting to get sticky, and that doesn't bode well. It's intriguing though. Yeah, if it is one of the blue white things, they basically never have a good middle. But we'll see. I actually might have to just stop prepping this one. Just have a check, or if anyone's got Neil's book to hand and wants to have a quick play with some of the sutures that you can see there, just go check his book and see if it narrows it down any beyond, if it's Gramo or something from that next level up. Intriguing. Absolute treat to prep until this point now, even though it's in lots of bits, because it's been cleaning so easily. Yeah, I think this side should go really quickly. For the last 30 minutes. Do we do it? We might just do it. I'm wondering if this is a belemnite just sitting in here. But yeah, I might just do this side because it's gone fairly easily and was fairly fun to do. And then yeah, that will end us at least for today, before I turn into a puddle of sweat. And annoyingly, I think this is actually not belemnite bits. This might actually be a crustacean. So there's a little tiny bit exploded right there. It looked very crustacean under the magnification, so I'm using a magnifier just bottom of the screen. That's why you'll probably see me holding the fossil that way a lot. But I need to have a bit of a tidy up of this and see if there's anything at least identifiably like beyond under a magnification that looks it. It just was one of those things. It's just like, ooh, wait a second. So I'll have a quick look at that and see if there's anything more that we can do with it. Hey, typical, eh? Wasn't expecting anything, although I have often been prepping things and you see little pyrite, I want to say veins, but I don't know how else to describe them, that run through rocks, and I always keep an eye out because I sometimes wonder where they, whether they're going to be crustacean bits. But that is a leg, or at least part of a leg, right there. But I pointed it just a second ago. Yeah, and this section here was where I'm pretty sure body was. I've obviously gone through a chunk of it without realizing what it was. But I'm going to spend a little bit of time going slowly around all of this and just see, because it's got fairly good separation. So we'll just have a quick look, see if there's anything that can be done with it. Yeah, we have got some fun going on. So there's the bit that I found originally down here, that little leg, and there's a bit that ran that way. So I started tidying from the top, and there's little bits of leg here. There's a bigger bit of something here. I have no idea how well that's coming over on your screens, but hopefully you can see the light colored bits amongst it. So very interesting, very interesting. Not only because it'll be the first one I've prepped, I've got one sat next to me just taunting me. This is one of the more typical ones where you've got fairly clear bits, and this is quite a nice claw. But that's in a nodule where it was tapped and then we see them. This one is quite nice because, yeah, saw it whilst prepping, which for better or worse means that, yeah, I haven't exploded it, but doesn't mean I won't or haven't exploded bits of it with the prep so far. I'll just have to see. That'll have to do for now. I think with a 1.5mm tip I'll also feel a lot better doing this. But it's... When I see people at Man Lambo prepping a crab and they're just like going do 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 and all the matrix is popping cleanly off, I'm always kind of like, the heck, how come it does it so nicely? Then you get one like this where the matrix is this sort of soft and then it starts to pop cleanly when you go, oh, that's what it's supposed to be like if you have nice soft matrix. Yeah, Yorkshire matrix, not usually like this. But yeah, let's see if I can at least give you some idea of what I've got. There's a fairly large chunk of what I'm assuming is body rather than legs, and there's bits of leg that seems to come off there. There's a jointed pair here, and then there's this one down here. So my suspicion, without knowing for sure, is that we're still a little high up on this section. But there's, yeah, possibly this might be main body here, or part of main body here, and then a leg coming off of it, or parts of legs and antennae coming off of it, and then I don't know, possibly disarticulated bits down here. But we'll need to remove all of this on top to find out for sure. But it's, yeah, I don't know how well I can get it to focus, because it's playing, yeah, like we're playing with the whole area is like the size of my thumbnail. So it's tiny, because of course it is. And of course it's on the side that I think is better preserved for the ammonite. Yeah, there's this one I'll need to have a close look at. So you can see, based on the fact that I can do that with my thumb, how warm I am at the minute. We'll have to see about that middle and what's in there. I have a horrible suspicion it's blue-white, and I have a horrible suspicion it's not going to have a center, but we will see. This may end up going to Sean to have a full prep look at, but I'm tempted to keep going with this one, at least with the shrimpy bit. I wonder if that does not help that much. I was going to say, I wonder if I can use my thumb and do that same trick that I just did with the ammonite on the crustacean, but yeah, it does not help that much. It just makes everything very soggy. So yeah, that shows you how warm I am and why we started prep so early this morning, and also why we're finishing so early. As you watch it all, the color disappear almost instantly. Yeah, it's hot. Yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. It'll be another early one, just because it's just too hot for this today, at least in my shed. If you are prepping, I hope you've got a much better setup than I for doing it. I would love to be able to do as suggested and sit inside with some aircon and make it all feel very comfortable and lovely. But alas, my setup is not that cushy. I am very jealous of those who have one that nice. But, something we can aspire to, and when I win the lottery, or I don't know, something of similar worth, and I can get myself one. But until that point, we get this, and to be honest, still much better than a day in my standard office. But yeah, thank you all for watching. I will hopefully see a lot of you again tomorrow. If Mr. Landfill jumps on later to see this, apologies that he's missed this again, but I'm sure he'll be back as soon as we're back to the afternoon shift and he's actually awake. But, yeah, cheers all, and I'll catch you soon.